Welcome back to another episode of Reffing with the Sappers. We're going to do a special episode on respecting the distance on a free kick after a foul. Before I jump into that, I do want to say we're in the off season now, and I've been reviewing all the videos that I've got of games. Far from every game that we ref is kind of interesting enough to do a full game review on, so I'm honestly running a little bit out of content. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to keep up the pace of doing one video a week. So we may have to go to an every other week or even every third week or skip a little bit here. So just keep that in mind. With that said, we are looking for content. So if you're a coach who we've refed one of your games and you'd be willing to come and join us for the review and give us a coach perspective, we would love to have you on. If you're another referee who has video of your game and you'd like to come and do a review with us and you're willing to come and sit with us, we would love to do that with you. So just reach out to us and we'd be happy to do that. But let's go ahead and get started with this topic. I'm going to actually use video from two different games. One was a youth game, a U13 boys game that was really interesting from December 12th. We will be doing a review of this full game in a future episode because it is really a really good one. But and then we're going to use an adult league game that I sometimes do for our second example. So here we're going to see that ball's bouncing around the right. This player kicks up high and then ends up called a foul. And I actually start by signaling the wrong direction. So I point one direction, then I realize I made a mistake, and then I come back and say, no, 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 it's actually this way. It's actually this way. Now let's get to the topic at hand. So we're starting doing this restart here. It's not a fast restart, and White isn't trying to get a major advantage by starting here. But as he comes up to the ball, he starts to get it, and these here are kind of setting up shop about 6-ish yards away from this ball. And I just start telling them, hey guys, take a couple of big steps back. You don't have to go far, but just take two big steps back. So they start to back up. They start to back up. I keep telling them, yeah, just a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. This here on the right hand side, this coach comes over and he starts saying, hey, why are you asking them to back up? They never asked for 10. And so, I think I tell him something like, Coach, they don't have to ask for 10. Let's listen to the audio. A little bit more, a little bit more. No, but he's required to give him 10 anyway. Whether he asks or not, you're required to give it to him. We're going to come back to this game, but let's first go over to IFAB and see what IFAB says about this. So coming to the IFAB homepage, and I'm going to go up here to the top. I'm going to find the Law 13, which is free kicks. And first I want to scroll down to 13.2 under procedure. So in particular, it says here, until the ball is in play, all opponents must remain at least 10 yards from the ball unless they are on their own goal line between the goalposts. So that would only happen if you're way down in the penalty area with kind of an indirect free kick. And what this does not say is that the opponent must ask for 10. So that is a common misperception in the game, and particularly at the youth levels, that people think that the kicker has to ask for 10. Nothing in the laws of the game actually says they have to ask for 10. You're required to give them 10 no matter what, at least the way I understand this. Then if I scroll down to 13.3 under offenses and sanctions, we're going to look at this first paragraph here and it says, if when a free kick is taken, an opponent is closer to the ball than the required distance, and it talks about like if you can play advantage and some other stuff. But then I'm going to jump to this last sentence that says, however, an opponent who deliberately prevents a free kick from being taken quickly must be cautioned for delay of the restart of play. So it's an important point, an important distinction, and honestly something that I think is not called enough. I try to call it more in my games. Let me know if you're a ref if you think this is frivolous, but I call it a little bit more in my games. But let's go back to our video of this game. So in this situation, the white team was not trying to do a fast restart. So these players being up there and, not quite being 10 yards back, it wasn't delaying their restart, which is why I didn't caution them in this case. But I did want to make sure that he got his 10 yards. Now let's come over to the other video that I want to use. So this is an adult league game. I do the recreational Sunday league game sometimes for the city of Roseville. And we're watching two teams play. We're actually looking at these two players in the back here. player's got the ball, and then he just kind of gets shoved right there in the back by that red player. So I call a foul. Now, on this restart, we'll see Blue is moving with some urgency there, coming up to get the ball, and then he's trying to toss it up to his teammate here. And we'll see this red player intentionally run into his path. So, he's less than a yard away from that player and intentionally moved with urgency to stop them from moving with urgency. So, I think this is pretty textbook. It meets the criteria for delaying the restart. By the way, this was not the first time this had happened, that the red team had done this in this match. It was a different player earlier, but I'd given them a warning earlier in the match. But I go ahead and caution this player here for delaying that restart. And, in this league, they have to leave for 5 minutes. But I think that's 100% the right call in this case and a correct application of the laws. Now I want to go back to that youth game that we reviewed at the start, and I want to give some credit to the coach of this team. It happened to be a Loomis coach who I enjoy doing their games. They're always really intense, but they're obviously well-coached teams. I'm going to play some audio here so you'll hear some of the discussion, but I really was inspired by this coach's openness to learn about the laws of the game and kind of pick my brain on it. And he asked specifically about that moment that we saw earlier in this match. So let's listen.
All right, I have to pick your brain on something.
Okay. Yep.
So there was this time where the ball hadn't been stopped by you, at least by whistle,
Yep.
and they didn't ask for 10, but so you were moving them back, but yet they had the freedom to take the free kick whenever they wanted. So they got to have their cake and eat it too, right? So our boys aren't ready. Our goalie can't set a wall because they didn't ask for 10. So he has to stay centered. How does the defense, you see it in pro, how does the defense force them to ask for 10 so that our goalie can set that wall? If you're doing them their favor by moving them.
So
how's that work?
I think you've got a fundamental misunderstanding.
Okay.
The attacking team has the advantage in that case. They were the one who were wronged, so they've got the kick.
And they might want to play fast, right?
Correct. So and they're perfectly entitled to kick it whenever they want because they didn't ask for 10. They can kick it whenever they want.
But
your player. So basically, at that point, if your players are getting within 10, in order to take away their advantage, I've got two options.
Right.
Either I card them for unsporting behavior, or I tell them, hey, just go ahead and back up.
But see, so in that moment, so you're giving them still the freedom to play quickly, right?
Yep.
While manipulating the defense.
Because your defense was trying to take away their
advantage. I agree.
Which is unsporting.
All right. I guess fundamentally it's just not what you see in professional. So
by taking away their advantage, you basically that's an unsporting thing. So rather than card them, I choose to verbally tell them they've got to back up.
All right. I can live with that today. I don't understand it, but I can. I get it. I'm just so our goalie can't set anything up because if he leaves his line, they can take the free kick. But yet they get the privilege of you moving the wall. Yeah, so how does he ever set up his defense?
He doesn't
get to because they can take the free kick. Then if he leaves to go stand on the post and say, guys, move
there's no entitlement. He can do whatever he wants down there, but he can.
So how do you make it as if the defense? I get what you're saying. The advantage is supposed to go to the offense.
Yep.
But if you're a defender, then you're just saying just take the yellow. Just go step in front and stand there and take the yellow.
If you feel like you have to set it, you can just take the yellow.
Okay.
So what I really like about that clip is that this coach did a really good job of coming up and he asked a question respectfully with an open heart to want to learn and to listen. He shared his feedback and we gave back and forth. But I honestly think this is something that's probably not called. When I watch a lot of other referees, they don't call it the same way that I would. And I'm just calling it the way that I feel like is in the laws of the game and trying to respect the fact that the team who was fouled now should have an advantage in how they restart. But let me know, if you're a referee, how do you call it on here? Do you think I'm calling these a little bit too tight? Do you think I should let a little bit more go? Or do you, like me, feel like it should be called a little bit more at the grassroots level? Hopefully you got something out of this. We got to see what IFAB specifically says about this. Again, the team taking the kick does not have to ask for 10 to be entitled to it. You have to give them that 10 no matter what. So hope you found this interesting. Join us back for our next episode whenever we upload that, or reach out to us if you want to join us for a video. But I'm Scott with Reffing with the Sappers, and I'll see you out on the pitch.